This is ridiculous.
Protesters take over New York City streets calling for justice.
Launch enable, disable.
Disable.
Mankind will have to wait as Orion gets delayed another day.
And I think it's time we modernized those regulations and got into the 21st century.
Here at home, Mayor Tory tackles traffic congestion in Toronto. Hi and welcome to Humber News. I'm Patrick Valois coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. U.S. federal prosecutors are launching an inquiry into the death of Eric Garner. Garner died at the hands of New York City police when they put him in a chokehold this summer in Staten Island. The decision to hold an inquiry comes a day after a grand jury decided not to charge the policeman who killed him. Over 1,000 protesters flooded the streets of New York after the decision was announced. It's another case of not charging a white police officer in the death of an unarmed black man. Police say Garner was selling illegal cigarettes and resisting arrest before they threw him to the ground. Amateur video caught Garner's struggle. The 43-year-old father of 6 who suffered from asthma died as a result of the chokehold, and the city's medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. This grand jury decision came a week after the grand jury in Ferguson, Missouri decided not to indict the officer who killed Michael Brown. NASA has delayed today's much-anticipated launch of the Orion spacecraft because of technical difficulties.
T-4 limits are off. TM1 pre-TPA spin off. Off.
The launch crew called off the test flight after trying to fix the issue for hours. The maiden flight will pave the way for human exploration of Mars and beyond. Once the mission is a go, the plan is to circle the Earth twice before re-entry. This will give the engineers a chance to look at the performance of the heat shields. On the way back down, parachutes will deploy to slow the capsule and gently set it over the Pacific. The new launch time is set for tomorrow morning, 7:05 Eastern Time. Back home, the manhunt in British Columbia is over. Police have arrested a 36-year-old man in the shooting of an RCMP officer yesterday morning. Corporal Jean-René Michaud was shot and remains in critical but stable condition. The search for the suspect shut down an entire neighborhood in Kamloops, BC for hours. Toronto Mayor John Tory has unveiled his new plan to tackle the city's traffic problems. The mayor says he's introducing a zero-tolerance policy against any vehicle blocking a major route or intersection.
Transparency, it's a matter of people. This is all about the first question that was asked, which is, will people see this happening? And yes, they will. I mean, they're going to see this happening. It's not going to be absolutely overnight, but they'll start to see things happening right away because I won't have it any other way.
The traffic crackdown is one of Tory's first major moves as mayor. His points also include incentives for speeding up road construction and retiming signal lights. The plan will be officially implemented starting in January. A new study says young people are suffering mental health problems in increasing numbers. The Center for Addiction and Mental Health says more than 2% of adults over 18 have contemplated suicide. The greatest increase was reported among people between 18 and 29 years old. When asked to rate their mental health, 12% said it's poor. To find out what you think, we hit the halls to ask students how they feel about their mental health.
I think it's because of their living conditions too. Maybe at home it's not comfortable for them.
I would say kids would be more stressed out because they have to worry about their future. If they're going to get a job, because looking for a job you need experience, and coming out of school you have no experience.
Okay, so academically, no, because you have like the whole semester to prepare for your exams, which should be decreasing your stress. Yeah. So school for myself, no.
Right now my rating is probably like a 7, kind of stressful because of exams, but other than that, everything's good.
9, because life is great.
It's been 25 years since 14 young women were gunned down at L'École Polytechnique in Montreal just because they were studying to become engineers. Today at Humber, a solemn ceremony of remembrance.
14 young women at the École Polytechnique were murdered. Let's be clear. We can use whatever kinds of words we want. They were killed. They were murdered.
It's a day of remembrance and action on the violence against women. Students receive flowers and sign their names to the banner in honor of the Montreal massacre. Special guest Sylvia Miracle spoke at the ceremony, reminding Humber that violence against women is still an active problem in Canada, especially in the Aboriginal community.
Man, you can talk to other men and you can say, hey, we're going to stop this. It's not acceptable.
The National Day of Remembrance is December 6th. Overseas now, a nighttime attack in Eastern Europe has killed 10 police officers and left a city in shambles. The Chechen Republic in Russia is recovering after a militant group stormed the capital. This amateur video shows security officers firing automatic weapons and grenade launchers. Officials say the militants killed 3 policemen at a checkpoint before taking control of the press house and killing more officers inside the building. In the morning, offices were still on fire and engulfed in thick smoke. The attack erupted just hours before Russian President Vladimir Putin was to give his annual State of the Nation address in Moscow. Meanwhile, the U.S. Secretary of State is meeting with his counterpart today for the first time since he publicly condemned Russia's role in the Ukraine crisis. Relations between Washington and Moscow are at their lowest point since the Cold War. John Kerry met with Sergei Lavrov Thursday morning in Switzerland for a meeting of the Organization for Security and Cooperation. Kerry also met with the foreign ministers of Ukraine and Georgia to discuss tensions with Russia.
Stop Russian aggression. Stop.
Meanwhile, outside the meeting, protesters gathered on the streets of Basel to demand help for Ukraine. They say they want the OSCE to help free Ukrainian prisoners of war and stop Russian aggression. Moving to the Philippines, it's been a year since Typhoon Haiyan devastated the region, and already residents are bracing themselves for another Category 5 storm. The Filipino president met with officials today to assess preparations ahead of Typhoon Hagupit. The president ordered the Trade Department to send more food and supplies to high-risk areas, and residents along the eastern shoreline were advised to evacuate early. The super typhoon is expected to reach winds of 220 kilometers per hour before hitting central Philippines over the weekend. 50 of the 81 provinces will be affected by the storm. An exhibit in Athens is giving us a look at the early practices of Greek medicine. Close to 300 artifacts from antiquity are on display to show how the earliest civilization played doctor. The exhibition paints a picture of how the ancient Greeks used medicine, surgery, and instruments to treat disease. Greeks believed sickness was a punishment from the gods and would sacrifice clay versions of body parts to cure their illness. Some of the traditions have remained in Greek culture today. Finally, one of the last masterpieces of JMW Turner still in private hands is making history. It just sold at auction for more than $47 million US. The painting, titled Rome from Mount Aventine, was last on the market 130 years ago. It was bought in 1878 by the 5th Earl of Rosebery and is considered an extraordinary example of the painter's work. 4 bidders pushed the price well beyond expectations. The countdown is on. It's just 21 days to Christmas, and the search for those perfect presents is underway. One of the coolest places to explore is the Distillery District. Our intrepid shopper, Rebecca Hamill, is there scouting it out for us and joins us live.
Thanks, Patrick. As you can see right behind me, I'm here at the Toronto Distillery Christmas Market, and we're ready to kick off another year of magic and romance. It's one of the top 10 Christmas markets to get you in the holiday spirit. Its traditional sounds, lights, scents celebrates Christmas as it comes up in a few short weeks. The market sits on 13 acres and is a great place to grab a bite, walk around, and really embrace Christmas time in the city. There's more than that. There's something for the kids as well. Children can go on plenty of rides here and is the perfect setting for a family Christmas picture. I'm here with Carolyn Holloway. So Carolyn, tell us, what can visitors expect from this year's Christmas market?
So this year's Christmas market, we have the stage full with performances every day, when all the time we're open, from the carolers, who you can hear behind me, to other bands including Dixieland and tubas and trombones and big bands. And also we have a whole set of vendors who are open with seasonal gifts, is the way I would put it, but it's anything, beautiful things like scented candles and decorations, and also we've got a whole lot of food. There's scarves, warm scarves, there's warm boots, there's toys, and then down Santa's Lane, of course, we have Santa. Santa is there. You can come and have your photograph taken with him, and on a Tuesday you can bring, it's pet day, have your pet's photograph taken with Santa.
Really, what more could you want? And there's rides, of course, and just the whole atmosphere is as a family, magical Christmas event.
Wonderful, thank you. The Christmas market is a great spot to spend your weekend, so if you haven't made your plans yet, be sure to check it out this Saturday and Sunday from 12 to close. Reporting live to you here today from the Christmas market, I'm Rebecca Hamill. Back to you, Patrick.
Thanks, Rebecca. When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and Earl Abalahun will have your 3-day forecast.
For that polar vortex, but Environment Canada has said that this winter will be pretty mild thanks to El Nino. It's currently pretty sunny out, and we're going to be expecting some mixed flurries going into the weekend. We'll have all the details on your full 3-day forecast coming up after the break.
Begun the most detailed analysis ever carried out on a Stegosaurus skeleton. Sophie, the female Stegosaurus, is one of only 6 partial skeletons of the creature. The specimen is the world's most complete example of the dinosaur. The 150 million-year-old skeleton will be unveiled this Thursday at London's Natural History Museum.